come on in the room. We got to get this one started tonight. Bucks are losers tonight. They lose it 122-113 to the Indiana Pacers. Come on in the room. Adrian is our doctor. He writes out all of our scriptures. He gives us all of our medicine in our room. 122-113. Pacers beat the Bucks tonight. A lot of you are angry. It's a lot of people angry tonight. So also we are live at the Cream City crossover. Come on in the room. A lot of you are angry. A lot of you are upset. We're gonna get to all of your comments on Twitter, on the YouTube as well. Solo Guru Crosby tonight, giving the people what they want. But again, everybody's upset. Listen, this is a rough night from a lot of different angles, a lot of different perspectives, right? I think, I think as we watch this game, collectively, there's a lot going on. There's a lot of people that, I think we can kind of talk about and we can get to, and we can try to figure out, why it went the way that it went. But let's do a quick reset here. Giannis went for 30, 18, and 11. He messed around, got a triple-double. Chris Middleton, 21 and 6. I thought Chris Middleton was very good, both sides of the floor. Brook Lopez put up 21 and 5. Malik Beasley was 12 and 4. And we're gonna take a second. We're gonna talk about the Damian Lillard, Malik Beasley type, some of the conversations surrounding that, because I thought it was pretty interesting. Damian Lillard tonight, 13 points, 7 rebounds, 5 assists. But so pedestrian numbers in and of itself. But it wasn't pedestrian. It was like bad. He was 3 for 16. By far, the worst offensive player tonight for the Milwaukee Bucks was Damian Lillard. By far. So I've been seeing a lot of people coming to me talking about, because I had a post on social media earlier today on X or Twitter, whatever you want to call it. And if you want to get at me, get your comments in. We're going to read them, of course, at TCIIIESQ. Also, comment on the YouTube right here. Appreciate everybody joining us. 122-113 at the Cream City crossover. Indiana Pacers beat the Milwaukee Bucks. But I made a comment, early in the game when Malik Beasley hit he had to hit three threes in the first quarter, or at least the first, early in the second. I think it was the first quarter. He had 3 threes he'd already hit. And the funny part of it was I made a post saying, hey, it's going to be tough to take him out of the starting lineup. It's just going to be tough to do that with the way he's playing. And then after the game, because that's what people like to do, is after the game you come in and you say, what do you mean you can't take Beasley out of the lineup? He's getting cooked by TJ McConnell. And I just listened to that comment and I go, well, how do you say that when Malik Beasley was better? I think what people like to do is take the low-hanging fruit. For whatever reason, you want to take the low-hanging fruit and go, I can pick a guy, Malik Beasley, who was the best. That'll help. That'll solve all the problems. Malik Beasley, get him out of start. That'll solve all our problems. No, fool. The idiot. Let me stop. The worst player tonight was Damian Lillard. And maybe it's easy. Maybe you guys find it very easy to call out Malik Beasley because he's only making $2 million or whatever it is, the vet minimum, and he's like your fringe starter, your 5th, 6th guy. Maybe you guys find that easier to talk about him, but he wasn't your worst player tonight. Damian Lillard was the worst player on the floor tonight. He was bad. You want to talk about getting cooked? Damian Lillard, like when you go Malik Beasley was getting cooked. Did you think Damian Lillard was playing some top-notch stellar defense? Did I miss that from Damian Lillard? Did I miss the defense where Damian Lillard was all over the place, sliding his feet around, making plays, getting deflections, did I miss that? I don't know. Maybe I did. But not only did he not do anything defensively, but at least Malik Beasley hit 4 threes tonight. Damian Lillard was 1 for 9 from 3 for 16. So for whatever reason, you guys are afraid to call out Damian Lillard when he's stinking it up. I'm not. I have no problem calling out Damian Lillard for being trash. And tonight, there were 2 reasons the Milwaukee Bucks lost. One, Damian Lillard. The second reason, the bench was awful. Don't sit here and blame Malik Beasley. That's what we're not going to do. That's what you shouldn't do. I can't tell you what you should do, what you can't do. But I'm going to say, I'm not going to sit here and blame Malik Beasley when we had deep when he played just as bad defensively, or just as however you want to put it defensively, when he was just as bad as Damian Lillard. But Damian Lillard is supposed to be the superstar. Damian Lillard's the guy you traded people for so he could come in and make shots, and he didn't do any of that. And Malik Beasley didn't overshoot. He didn't shoot you out of the game. There was one start. Let me point out the starting lineup percentages from three. Brook Lopez shot from field. Brook Lopez shot 47%. Giannis shot 55%. Chris Middleton shot 69%. Malik Beasley shot 50%. The only person who was trash today, you can really put Damian Lillard in with the bench, because Damian Lillard shot 19% tonight from the field. He shot 11% from three. You know what's funny? Giannis walked into a three and missed one early in the game, and somebody was like, well, those are the shots that Giannis can't take, and da-da-da-da-da. The guy who shot us out of the game was Damian Lillard. He was 1 for 9. At least Giannis had sense enough to know I'm 0 for 3. I should probably stop now. Damian Lillard is just going to jack threes and miss them. But the difference was Damian Lillard couldn't hit twos, couldn't hit threes, couldn't hit mirror. He couldn't do nothing except he did get to the free throw line 6 times, made for 6 free throws. Good job. Other than that, he was awful. Continuing on with it, Bobby Portis, 8 points, 5 rebounds. Bobby Portis, I'm sick of the fake tough guy stuff. I'm sick of it. Let me say, I think he is a tough guy, so I'm not gonna say that. But again, I've talked about it before, where being a tough guy and just related to like fighting and extracurricular stuff outside of basketball, it's cool. It's not impressive to me. To a guy who wants to see the Bucks win, who wants to how can we win basketball games? That doesn't move. That don't move me. That moves me when you get into some fisticuffs. When something's happening, you want Bobby in the foxhole with you, yeah. But when it's time to grab a rebound, like I want the guys, like when I talk about toughness, I'm talking about stuff that translates in between the lines. That's what I like to see. I want to see somebody who's gonna fight to go get a rebound, not knock a ball out of TJ McConnell's hands after the play ends. Like that's cool. That's tough. That's, oh yeah, you ain't gonna mess with me. Like when it was him and Jackson who went up and Isaiah Jackson fell on his face. That's cool. But you want me to tell you who was really hustling for the ball? Isaiah Jackson was the one who was hustling for the ball. Isaiah Jackson was hustling for the rebound when it was up in the air. Like that, like I'd rather see that. That's what I prefer over when Isaiah Jackson got up, I swole up and looked at him like, what you gonna do? That's cool. Again, on the YouTube, on the video, look how tough Bobby Portis is. But I'd rather be the guy who skied up and went for the rebound. That's what I'd rather, because Isaiah Jackson got the call. So that's when I talk about toughness, I'd rather be the guy that's going to slide your feet and play tough defense like that. Like TJ McConnell's not a tough guy, but he plays real gritty basketball. And so TJ McConnell tonight, who's going to get to Guru Game Ball, by the way, TJ McConnell was the best player on the floor, 16-9. Like, I'd rather have what TJ McConnell did tonight. And again, I know we're all talking about small sample size, one game. It seems like it always happens against the Bucks, though. But I'd rather what TJ McConnell did as a quote-unquote tough guy versus what Bobby Portis did tonight. So, let's get that out of the way. Go and look at what Indiana did, 26-11, and 9 from Tyrese Haliburton. Shows me just how good Tyrese Haliburton is, because I thought he had a rather, I won't say it was a pedestrian game. Again, Tyrese Haliburton shot the three terrible. He was 1 for 7 from 3. He was 11 for 22 from the field, so again, he shot 50%. So a little bit, much better than Damian Lillard. But Tyrese Haliburton, to me, had a game that wasn't, I didn't think Tyrese Haliburton had his handprints all over the game. He played well into the fourth quarter, but and again, this is not a knock on Tyrese Haliburton. What I'm really saying is one of those games where it didn't look like he did a lot, but you're still filling the stat sheet up. So that lets me know you really are ascending to that superstar type of a level. When you can give me 26, 9, and 11, and I really didn't even feel your 26, 9, and 11, that lets me know Tyrese Haliburton is really getting there. To that, like I said, to being a superstar. 13-4 from Miles Turner. He wasn't impressive. Again, the Indiana Pacers starters were not impressive. Aaron East with 4 points, 5 rebounds. Jalen Smith, 7 points, 2 rebounds. He was 1 for 6 from 3. The Bucks at one point just stopped guarding him because he was playing so bad. Nembhard had 2 points. But the guys who played well, Benjamin Mathurin, 25 points, 13 rebounds. You can't let Ben Mathurin get 13 rebounds. Obi Toppin, 11 points. Isaiah Jackson had his handprints all over the game, 18 and 9. And then again, TJ McConnell, who went 16, 9, and 4. Let's get to some of your comments really quick. I'm interested in seeing what you said. Kyle and Racine, glad you guys can make it to your own show tonight. Well, again, one, it's just me. And and that's funny because we had our RETs and Q's show from Saturday where I was an hour late due to a car accident. But you guys, no, I don't have any problem making fun of it. That's okay. Then he says Dame thought he was back in Portland, thinking he had to do everything himself. Didn't go well. I don't know that. I mean, like when you say so Kyle, as I'm watching this basketball game, the first quarter, the Bucks were like humming. The only group where you had to do everything by yourself would have been that bench group, which I understand Damian Lillard was out there for some of that bench group. But look at these plus-minus numbers. And look at this. Every Bucks starter. And again, you can't always do the eye test with plus-minus. You can't always do that. Tonight you could. Tonight was a night where the plus-minus matched up with the eye test. Every Bucks starter was a positive in plus-minus. Every Bucks bench player was not just a negative, they were double-digit bad from the bench. Bobby Portis minus 21. Like that, when you go back to being tough and he's got the key to the city. Well, key it up and be better than a minus 21 on the floor. Bobby Portis minus 21. Pat Connaughton minus 22. Trash. Andre Jackson Jr., everybody wants him to play. Minus 12. Campaign minus 13. Bench was horrible. Horrible. And you look at Indiana, and again, Indiana, the exact opposite. Every single starter for including Tyrese Haliburton, every single starter for the Indiana Pacers, negative plus minus. Negative 11 from Nesmith, negative 19 from Smith, negative 20 from Turner, negative 21 from Nembhard, negative minus 5 for Haliburton. They were all stinky, bad. Go to the bench for Indiana, plus 22 from Mathurin. Buddy Hield didn't even play well. He was plus 4. Obi Toppin a plus 35. Isaiah Jackson a plus 29. TJ McConnell a plus 31. That was the difference in the basketball game. So if you ask me overall, am I concerned? No. Is it concerning that the Bucks have lost 3 to Indiana? Not. I'm really not even concerned about that. If you would ask me, am I concerned about our bench moving forward? Yeah, I'm a little more concerned about that. More so than like an individual matchup with Indiana. Because as I look at it, I know that my starting group is much better than the Pacers. And those are the guys that are going to play. So if you're talking about a playoff series, I'm thinking that, those minutes are going to have to ramp up. Like Giannis played 37 tonight. Yeah, it's going to have to be 40 plus. That's going to be 40 plus for Damian Lillard. Well, I say Damian, and he played horrible. But it's got to be 40 plus from Giannis. It's got to be 40 from Chris Milton. It had to be 40 from Beasley. It had to be 40 plus from Brook Lopez. That might be what I need more so than, to finish this out against Indiana. How many times did Giannis leave the floor tonight and everything fell apart? Like there were so many, and quickly. Like that's the only way the bench numbers can be this bad from a plus minus perspective is things have to fall apart quickly. And when the bench units came in, a lot of times when Giannis was not on the floor, everything fell apart quickly. Like tonight was a night, if you want to talk about, Giannis in the MVP race and that MVP kind of stuff, tonight was a Giannis MVP kind of night because it really showed you the difference from when he's on versus when he was off. And the Bucks were top of the league great when he was playing, and they were tonight looked like a lottery team when he wasn't in. Again, a 122-113 loss to the Indiana Pacers. Let's get to some of the Twitter comments here as well. There are a lot of them. Just like I said, just a ton of them that took place. And again, I'm doing everything solo, so give me a second to get to things here. At Martinez, Coleman Jr. says, yeah, Dame played very bad tonight, but what really pisses me off is they let that scrub TJ McConnell get off again. I would think they'd be tired of letting these non-stars look like all-stars against him Where's the pride at? Shaking my head at the Weedmanator says starters can't afford to have off days when the bench is awful. I agree, but again, the only guy who had an off day was Damian Lillard. Everybody else I thought was solid, even defensive. Like the first quarter defensively, I thought the Bucks were good. I didn't really do a real recap game wise from the Bucks, just from the play. So I thought in the first quarter the Bucks were like a team that came out. They were connected defensively. They were hustling. They were scrambling all over the place. There was a stretch in the first quarter where the Indiana Pacers didn't score for like a solid 4 minutes, and then when the bench first came in, when TJ McConnell came in, those guys came in, that's when things just kind of went downhill. And that's really when that's honestly when you're supposed to see Damian Lillard, who asked to play 12 minutes, that's when he's supposed to ball out, right? Like that's when he's supposed to kind of do what he does. Now you don't have Giannis, you don't have to, and that's what all the Dame defenders. Oh, he's got to get his shots up. He had his opportunities, had his chances. He couldn't get it going tonight. And that was a problem. And I was watching the game, and I thought, again, the first quarter, I thought the Bucks looked great until the bench came in. That's really a theme of the night from what happened for the Milwaukee Bucks. Giannis had his thing rolling. The Pacers started to double and triple Giannis pretty early, obviously, after you're looking at a 64-point night the last time out. And again, what it shows me was just how good Giannis is. Show me, number one, how good Giannis is, because, and that's kind of not to the same point I was making about Tyrese Haliburton, but if a team is going to go all out to stop you, right, they're going to do everything in their power to stop everything that you have going and not allow what you're doing to work. If a team is going to do that, can you come out and make the correct plays, not just from a scoring perspective? Because, again, tonight was a night where the Indiana Pacers decided we're not letting you get 64. We're going to make other guys beat us. And Giannis, to his credit, said, okay, you're going to do that? Okay. Well, I'm going to make great passes. I'm going to impact the game in other ways. And here's the thing. You sold out to stop me from getting 64. I'm still going to put up 30 on you. I'm still going to give you 30, 18, and 11. While you're double and triple teaming me. The difference is he had teammates that didn't show up, didn't step up for him. And, again, so I was watching. I thought, throughout the second quarter, again, TJ McConnell just beating him down. And, he got to a spot. He hit his shots. He made great passes. Then they started to outwork and out-hustle. And then the third, starters come back in, and you think, okay, the Bucks have this thing under control. The Bucks had, I believe, so the Bucks were up at one point in the first half. In the first quarter, I believe they were up 15 points. In the second half, in the third quarter, they got up, I believe, 13. And I remember it was at least 13, because I remember that's when Giannis took a three that was somewhat ill-advised early in the shot clock. But I remember at that point saying, it's fine, you're up 13. Those are shots I don't mind you taking. But you just thought at some point, somebody, like Giannis being, again, think about what this basketball team is. For everybody, I keep hearing, well, you gotta take Malik Beasley defense, and sometimes, and I've kind of fallen into that trap sometimes. But again, this basketball team is built for offense. Like I keep saying, we are 30. What's the Bucks record right now? The Bucks are 24-9. Adjust your mindsets. This team is built to play offense at a high level. That's what this basketball team is built to do. So when you run into problems, it's not going to be when, because we talk about defense all day long. You're going to run into problems when you're not playing offense at a high level. And in the third quarter, you put up 26 and you put up 25. And here's the thing, because you can talk about the Pacers put up 38 in the fourth quarter. And so I think that's where we go, the Bucks defense is going to be a problem. No. If you match Indiana, you win that game. That's what I'm talking about. And Kyler Ray says defense wins championships. I'm telling you, that's not the case in the NBA anymore. Did you see last year in the playoffs? The Denver Nuggets are not some defensive juggernauts. No, that I'm telling you, that is old. The NBA has changed. No longer is it a defense wins championship. That is an old moniker from 90s, early 2000s style NBA. That is not what happens. You see the Bucks won a championship. Again, defense was pretty good. The Bucks won a championship because Giannis threw up 50 in game. You got to have those type of performances. And you have to have defense when it matters. And that's what the Bucks missed tonight, was they didn't have defense when it mattered, but they also didn't play up to their standards offensively. You're telling me if Damian Lillard puts up 25, because that's 8 more points, Bucks lost by 9, and give me anything else from the bench, that's a win tonight from offense. Like that, like every time when the Bucks lose, for the most part, people for whatever they go, well, you should have stopped. I'm telling you, you have the pieces to win offensively. That's my thing. Nick C says playing drop the last 2 minutes of the game was a crime. Well, and again, I somewhat agree with you, but I somewhat disagree, because what's happening to Dr. Griffin right now is personnel-wise, he's getting into trouble, because you have a team that Brook Lopez, and I get what you're saying, Nick C says even Coach Bud made adjustments in the finals. Well, number one, Nick, we're not in the finals, so that's irrelevant comment. And number two, I'd argue that throughout 30 games of the season, it's so clear that Adrian Griffin makes many more adjustments than Mike Budenholzer ever did. So I disagree with you on that point. But what is happening is there's a personnel issue right now where when Brook Lopez is in the game. Yeah, and again, you can't say, no, just sub Brook and play Jackson. I'm telling you, Andre Jackson Jr. is good in spurts. He played 4 minutes tonight and was a -12. Like, he's good in spurts, but I see why you can't just throw him out there. He's not ready yet. And again, is there going to be a time where maybe he is, and we'll see. Andre Jackson Jr. it happens in spurts, but sometimes he's not ready. The other issue with Andre Jackson Jr. is what you really need to be able to do is be able to play small ball and have Giannis play the 5. But I'm gonna get into what the issue is. Is you have Brook Lopez, right, who can't play anything but drop. And then of course when you notice that when Bobby Portis is in the game, they don't play drop, right? But your issue is when Bobby Portis is a -21 and is playing as bad as anybody could play, you can't play Bobby at the 4 and Giannis at the 5 with this current iteration of the Bucks. And so what you're really looking for, what really needs to happen is, and I think maybe he's afraid to play Chris at the 4, which, I mean, maybe he can't handle it. Again, it would be a really small ball game. I would almost rather do that versus what was happening tonight. But yeah, Justin from NC points out Jay Crowder, right? So what's going to happen is you really are waiting on Jay Crowder. You're waiting on whatever the additions are from John Horst, because you've got to have somebody be able to lock down that 4 role so that Giannis can play the 5, so that you're not in a drop. But that's the thing. If Brook was in and you're trapping all over, it would have looked just as bad. Like, it would have looked just as bad. Like, that's my whole thing. So and Bobby was like that's the thing. You couldn't play everybody from the bench was unplayable tonight. So you couldn't run anybody from the bench. Bobby was unplayable. You had to go with your starting lineup. And once Indiana started getting it going, and then you got Damian Lillard who was playing like trash. Kyle says, what scares me is when you rely on offense so heavily and your star misses 22 threes in a row hard in an elimination game. Yeah, and that's the thing. You can't miss that many shots. You can't. Like, this is how the team is built. You can't do that. And that's the thing. I didn't need you to miss 22 in a row. I didn't need Damian Lillard. And that's why this thing is so crazy. I don't need you to go 15 or 16. I need you. If Damian Lillard shot was 6 for 16 tonight, the Bucks probably win that basketball game. But is actually getting to the rim. If Damian Lillard, instead of taking 9 threes, takes 6 and changes some of those over, and some of those is getting to the rim, that would have worked a little bit better. Potentially. Green Ranger says Dame's offense was bad, but I thought our team defense was bad. I actually, again, I thought again, and it's tough because there were two games that took place within this basketball game tonight, where you had one game which was the Bucks starters versus the second game which is the Bucks bench, and they played night and day. Like, typically a lot of times you can look at games and they go, total team effort or how did certain guys look but like it was very clear that the bench was bad and the starters were good outside of Damian Lillard. So I thought that was different tonight. Q says turnovers, bench points, 12 more free throws from the Pacers. I agree. I did think there was a moment in that basketball game where there was a moment where I thought the referees and officials tried to not let it get out of hand. And not that it was going to get out of hand, but they wanted to make sure that it didn't. And so because they did that, they started calling a lot of ticky-tack fouls, and the Bucks got hit with some rough foul calls. Some of these numbers are inflated. Chris had 5, I think he had 3 in the first half. Beasley had 5, but again, some of those inflated because down the stretch they were fouling. Portis had 4, again he had a tech as well. So some of that just kind of happened. 11 King says Dame time, shaking my head. Yeah, he wasn't good. Q says Dame has been playing really well. Pacers have his number. Hopefully we don't see them in the playoffs. I want to know that. Are you guys really afraid of Indiana in the playoffs? I'm curious. I'm not, because again, it's one of those things where, and I've said this before, if you are afraid of any team in the playoffs, and I mean not even saying like a Boston or Philly, but if you're afraid of any like Miami or Indiana or Cleveland or New York, and not to, but if you have a problem beating one, you're not ready to win a championship. So if you think that the Bucks would go into a playoff series with the Indiana Pacers and would struggle, then you're essentially saying we can't win a title, because Indiana's not ready to win a title right now. I thought Indiana played. I thought they played a little bit better defensively later into the game, but again, it was just a difference of 2 different games. The bench was not good. Starters were. Nick C says Brook gave them the game in the last minutes, 2 uncontested middies and a floater. You can put Jackson in at 4 and sub Brook. They played Mathurin and Naismith at the floor at 4. I don't know that you could play I just don't know that you could do that. I don't know that Jackson, anytime he's played, I don't believe he's ever even played like a small ball 4 type of a role. Like every time I've seen Andre Jackson he's really defending guards. So again, maybe that's there's a reason for that. I don't know. Maybe I think he's a little light in the waist. But I've never seen Andre Jackson play down low. So can he do that or play like a legitimate role like that? I don't know that he can. Nick says nobody's afraid of the Pacers, just silly coaching from Griffin. I don't know how we blame Adrian Griffin when Damian Lillard shot 3 of 6. Dr. Griffin didn't make your best offensive player supposedly shoot like that. And matter of fact, there was I know it wasn't like, oh, well, it was tough shot. No, it wasn't. I saw Damian Lillard miss wide open jumpers. I remember, matter of fact, about close to the end of the game, they called a timeout and ran a slob for Damian Lillard, which was a great play because Chris Middleton threw it over the top. I think everybody's thinking, oh, this is a Giannis somehow attacking, and Indiana's defense pushes over to Giannis. Great pass to Dame, wide open, brick for his 16th miss, his 9th miss from 3. So what Nick says, he didn't play the substitution game. Your bench was terrible. Everybody on the bench was a negative. Who are you subbing in to play bad basketball? They were all bad. Every one of your bench players tonight was horrible. Every single one of them was double digits in the negatives plus minus. They were all bad. Why would I sub any of those guys in the game? If this wasn't a regular season game, I might have had to play my guys 45 minutes. But you can't because it's the January the 1st. Otherwise, I wouldn't have played them bums at all. Honestly, Bobby Portis, Pat Connaughton, Andre Jackson Jr., and Cam Payne didn't deserve to play 1 second in the second half. They didn't deserve to play 1 second. They were that bad. So why would I? There is no substitution game when your subs were this bad. And I'm not making an indictment on the entire team forever, but tonight, the bench was bad. Matter of fact, you might have come out better playing 4-on-5 and left Damian Lillard off the bench and not played him at all either. That's how bad he was. 4 guys played okay basketball today. And Malik Beasley really only played good in the first quarter. So really, 3 guys played good basketball today. Brook Lopez, Giannis, and Chris Middleton. I had 3 guys that I could play today. And Giannis was great. Everybody else was really bad. The bench is always bad. That's not true. I've seen multiple games where Bobby Portis has put up 20-plus points and done things like that. He was not good tonight. Now, what I will say about Bobby Portis is sometimes the ball sticks for him. Like his offensive game is predicated around I get the ball and I've got to run. Either I'm shooting an open three or maybe a contested three off of a set shot, or I get the ball in the post and I give you a post-up move. But either way, for the most part, Bobby Portis's game, when the ball hits Bobby's hands, it usually stops there. And that's a problem if you're not shooting the ball well, right? Like, that's a problem if you have 8 points on 12 shots. Because at that point, he becomes a one-man possession / ball gets in my hand. Everything dies when there is no, like, and that doesn't matter what's going on in the game. If the Bucks are playing well offensively, balls humming, whatever, when the ball goes to Bobby, it stops. Like, it's either he's shooting it, or he's shooting a three, or he's giving you some type of post up where he's trying to get to the basket. But, you know, I don't know. I don't want to say that's like a flaw. That's just kind of the type of player he is, that, you know, for that bench unit, he's a guy where that's kind of how his offense comes. So you kind of take the good with the bad there. Sonny says, the Bucks will win against Indiana in the playoffs. TJ was picking on Malik, and Griffin didn't make any changes. Again, I just don't get this. He didn't make any changes type of thing. I mean, the change he made was going 2-3. That was about the only change you could make because you couldn't sub. They were all bad. Brook Lopez can only play one style of defense, and Bobby Porter's on the floor. You can't play him. So, again, you're really waiting on either Horst to make some type of move or Jay Crowder to come in so you can play some small ball lineups. Because, again, the Bucks always, their best lineups were always when Giannis is playing the 5. Like that's just a fact. It's a fact. I've had people disagree with me about that fact. I've had people talk about it. The Bucks, you can look up statistically, the Bucks' best lineups have always come, even years past whenever, the Bucks' best lineups have always been when Giannis is at the 5. Nick says that Bobby's going to be, he's talking about Pat. Says Pat's going to be gone deadline and probably knows it too. Yeah, I can see Pat being gone as well. Sonny says Dame is the reason they lost. Like I said, I kind of agree with that as well. I would throw the Bucks bench in there too with that. Let me get back to some Twitter comments here because there were a lot. Weekly Flow, Giannis Dame says the bench is so atrocious. Genuinely need a point of attack defender for bench units. Our offense doesn't need help stopping people when we generate good looks. Anytime you get doubled up on second chance points, you get beat. Yep, and that's what I went to. Brook Lopez always discussed me with all the tap outs. Did you see that play? Did y'all see this play? And this just gets to the hustle part of things. Did you see this play? The play where the ball's rolling out of bounds, and Chris Middleton, instead of going and get like that is like the epitome of the Milwaukee Bucks. Ball's rolling out of bounds. TJ McConnell is running to go get the basketball. Chris Middleton's running to block people. Like if you go run to get the ball, that is because and people it was a foul. It was 100% a foul. Chris Middleton went to go block him out instead of I got one guy who wants the ball. I got another guy who wants to stop you. Go get the ball. And that happens. How many times I see that happen? It happens with Brook Lopez. Instead of going and getting the ball, I'm going to tip it to somebody. And it never happens. Go get the ball. Like, I never get that. Big 4 Fin 5 says 33 games in. We kind of know what they are. Is this year's team better with Dame? Yeah, I see more scoring, less D, same record. East is better. Don't know if the Bucks are yet. I think, yeah, if Damian Lillard's going to play at the level I've seen him play, and again, I don't know that we've ever seen Dame like yet at like his top level, but even at his level, which is like really good at times, which we've seen when he's putting up 30 and close to 30, like if Dame can get over 25 points, I think it's going to be a good night for the Bucks. But when he's playing and he's inefficient and he can't score, yeah, it's going to be a problem. But Dame has to score the basketball. And I think more offense, I think that's the way you win, but you've got to be able to score. And I'm not putting it on anything else other. Like 3 for 16 is just bad. Like you can't blame nobody. You can't blame nobody else for that. That's you. Drew Behringer says, I hope the Bucks don't face Indiana in the playoffs because that's easily going 7 games. 1-3 now in the season against the Pacers is concerning. I kind of talked about that. I'm not super concerned. I think the Bucks are fine. Rated R Newt, Justin from NC, my guy, I was in the YouTube too, says this is a dumb This is dumb. They lost to a team that they are way better than. They came into the 4-1-4, pushed us around, made fun of us at the end with the ball. I saw that too. Hate them. I hate the way we BS this game and gave it to them. I might hate them more than Boston. McConnell is soft. Pacers are soft. Listen, I'm not disagreeing with you. I did see them kind of play with the ball. You know what's funny? And maybe they'll talk about it. I thought that I think it was Miles Turner and somebody else wanted to do something with the ball. And I actually believe that it was, this is what I believe, I may be wrong about this. I actually thought Haliburton tried his best to be like, no, we're not doing that, and gave the ball to ref. That's what I think happened. I could be wrong. I was trying to read it. So I believe Haliburton was trying to stop those guys from doing the extra stuff. I could be wrong. He could have been in on it too, but that's what it kind of looked like to me. I don't know. Solo in here today. Woo, hope I didn't like. Who was that did the Republican response one time? Was that like, I can't remember. Was that Marco Rubio and he drank the water? Doing it before the response to like, what is that, like after a debate or after like a State of the Union or something? I don't remember. It was something like that. Pacers win at 122-113. I didn't move the ticker, but I've kind of talked about all this. Dame stinker. He was not good tonight. Talking about the play from the bench as well. But yeah, none of this was good. Again, Damian Lillard, and so I'll go back and I'll just individually get to Damian Lillard. I thought that, again, defensively was bad. Offensively was even worse. He's here to play offense. Like, I can live with some of the bad defense. Because, again, I mean, 122 from Indiana is not like the end of the world. Like, it's not, we've seen these games go much higher scoring than this. So it wasn't like it was the end of the world for the Bucks. But, again, you just got to score at a higher rate. And, again, the Bucks offense is actually historically the fourth best offense ever. That's what they've been doing before the new year. Tonight, probably a little on the lower scale, but I think the Bucks will get back right. But again, tonight, any of these things get better. Dame a little better, shooting the ball, or the bench playing a little bit better. Anybody from the bench, like Campaign usually can give me a 3. He had 5 points tonight, 0 for 2 from 3, 1 for 4. Campaign gave me nothing. Pat Connaughton hit 1 3. And that's the difference with Pat Connaughton. You got to grift your way. You're not playing well. You play 23 minutes. You got to grind your way to a good game. 3 points, 2 rebounds, 2 assists. Like Pat Connaughton, you got to, and I know Pat can do it, you've got to find ways to get yourself 6, 7, 8 rebounds. You got to find ways to impact the game when you're not shooting the ball well, when you're not playing well. So, again, the bench didn't do anything, and the offense didn't do anything from those guys either. Dr. Drew Holiday, hater burner, says, I hope we get those fraud Pacers in the playoffs. Now, I didn't say I hope to get them. I don't mind however it draws out. I'm not pressed either way. Like, I do think it's fun because it's been a bit of a rivalry. I think the Bucks just buckle down and play a good basketball game. That the Pacers are not really threats. I think this is a 5-6 game series at best, but I don't think it's a struggle per se. Like, when I say 5-6 games, I think, it's one of those series where it won't be in doubt, right? Like the Bucks win the first 2 at home, maybe Indiana gets 1, and then you going back home 3-1, and maybe Indiana can still win, and you got to get 1 on the road type of deal. Like, that's kind of what I could see, but I could easily see it being a 5-game series as well. I do think Indiana will probably get 1 just because of how good they play offensively. But again, you saw a night tonight where the Pacers shot the ball horribly. Like, they didn't shoot the ball well at all. The Bucks literally just need to keep pace in the fourth quarter. And for whatever reason, they couldn't do it. D-Spone 388 says, again, the Bucks bench gets outperformed, and they consistently get out-rebounded. I think we know the clear problem. No long-term concerns on my end. Dame just didn't show up, retool a bit, and we're good. Hottest of take-ups, Jacob says, the only Bucks that I know weren't partying last night were Brooke and Giannis. I love my wholesome guys. And yeah, maybe that was some of it. Maybe it was New Year's Eve. I've always talked about, right, that it's harder to play. And I do get that, the Knicks were at home on Christmas, but it's always it's easier to play as the road teams for those games on holidays, Christmas, New Year. It's just easier to play because there's so many more distractions when you're at home. Again, it's not to give an excuse or anything, but I think some of that holds true that when you're on the road, you have to be a little more focused with that. Let's see here. Let's go back to your comments from the YouTube chat. My point about the substitution game is very simple. You typically only need your big three on offense, sub Malik and Brook for better athletes like Ajax or even Contending, and then sub them in for offense. Contending's not a great defender. Contending's not a good defender. So that's the thing. Contending's not a good defender. I think Ajax Jr., yes, maybe. But again, I think and maybe on a normal night, maybe I could think about that. But on a night where Pat was terrible and Ajax was terrible, I don't know how you could put them in, because the first thing, anything they do incorrect, the first thing I do is, why the hell were those guys in? They were bad. Why were they in the basketball game? Eli J, I noticed that too. They wanted to hand the ball to Giannis, and Haliburton stopped them. Okay, yeah. So that's what I saw. I didn't know if they wanted to hand the ball. I knew they were doing. I think Miles Turner wanted to do something with that basketball, and Haliburton looked like he said no. That's what it looked like I saw from me. And then Colin Ray C says Dame needs to up his shoe game. Those were atrocious. Nick says we still could have won the game just because Dame wore a Pacers jersey tonight. I'm assuming saying that doesn't mean we couldn't get the win. I agree, we should have. Anud Shah says, is Damian Lillard better than Tatum and Brown? Right now, listen, totality, if I'm going by, and I'm not saying body, I'm saying body of work of what I know about Damian Lillard, what I know he is and should be, yes. And again, that's like, that to me is the thing that when I look at Boston, if we had, again, season doesn't end today. If season ended today, I'd pick Boston over the Bucks in 7. If the season ended today, but it doesn't end today. Like Tony World points out, it's 4 months from now. He says he's unworried. I'm not worried either. I think it does get worked out in the next 4 months. But yeah, if the season were to end today, I'd pick Boston in 7. And part of the reason why in the next 4 months I hope to be able to say Bucks in 6 or 7 is because what the Bucks have over Boston should be, I'm very clear that Giannis is going to be the best player on the floor. What pushes the Bucks over is that hopefully the Bucks have the 2 best players on the court. Because as you get down to breaking down the roster, Boston guys are going to start coming more into play. Like if you were just to rank like the top 10 guys, Boston's going to have more guys in the top 10 than Milwaukee. Or they're going to be not top, but they're going to be higher up in your top 10 than the guys from Milwaukee. But if your 1 and 2 from that series are Giannis and Dame, then it's very tough to beat. Even if you're deeper than another team, well, your best guy is better than my best guy, right? So that's the problem. Nick says probably Boston in fewer games. We can't play drop against a 5-out offense. I agree, Nick, and I said this too. One of the things that's going to have to change for if it's in your season against Boston, Brook Lopez is probably not going to be able to have the impact that he has. Or he's just not going to be able to play as much. So, and again, there's this question of when you look for trades, are you looking for, because, and I think I said this on the last shows, is there was a time when you made trades specifically to stop Giannis. The Boston Celtics now have gone away from that. Like, because again, it makes no sense because there's no guarantee that you haven't met up with Giannis in the finals. When was the last time the Bucks played a series against the Celtics? It was a couple. Was that 2 years ago? Yeah, it was the year Chris Middleton was hurt. But my point is, there's no guarantee that Giannis is going to be in your way to get to the finals. So you can't have a team that's like built to stop Giannis. And Boston and used to have Marcus Smart and used to have escaping Grant Williams. Well, you no longer have those guys. You've gotten rid of. You don't have, again, none of those guys are Giannis stoppers, but guys that can even slow Giannis down. Like, Giannis should be able to eat against Boston. Now, Boston's gotten better just wholesale for the playoffs, but they have not gotten better in the way to defend the Bucks, right? That's my opinion. So you've got to find a way to exploit that, but their offense has gotten different firepower as well. So yeah, Brook Lopez, you're right. I don't want Brook Lopez on Kristaps Porzingis at all, right? Like I don't want to see that kind of stuff. That's a matchup more for Giannis to play. And again, if you have Jay Crowder in the game, or maybe dare I say PJ Tucker, if you have those guys, right? Now we can talk about how you're going to use Giannis at the 5, and you can switch everything. Robert Henry says Dame's going to make the All-Star game as a wild card reserve. He 100% right now. Yeah, his numbers show that he should be an All-Star. And then if you look at the Bucks, they're 24-9. 100%. He's going to be an all. Like the Bucks deserve 2 All-Stars 100%. They just do. There's no doubt about that. Milbucks 2 says the Pacers played hard and making the hustle plays. McConnell shouldn't beat us. Dame looked lost. I don't know if I want to say he looked lost, but he just didn't play well. Like I don't even want to give him the benefit of the doubt if he looked lost. No, he just did. He played like trash. Like let's keep it what it is. Dr. Drew says people need to relax. Dame was abysmal and the bench underperformed. Can't win every game. You can't, and that's why I hope I don't come across as like super upset or mad. Like you're gonna lose some games. This is an annoying game to lose. Like there's no doubt about it. This is an annoying game to lose, not because of that, and I'll tell you why it was annoying. Because your group played well enough to win. Like, I would have rather had everybody stink it up like Dame and just chalk that game up as a loss. Like, I'd rather those type games happen to anybody. Not even, forget the opponent. If we're going to lose, I'd rather you either lose against a high caliber, high quality opponent, right? That's a very good basketball team. Your top 3s in the West, your top 3s in the East. I know, I'm sure there's some people who would disagree with that. But no, I don't want to. I hate losing to those teams. I don't want to ever lose to Boston. I'd rather lose against either top quality opponents, or I'd rather lose games where my guys just didn't have it tonight. I hate losing games where I had enough to win and I should have won. And then it was like a couple guys didn't have, like half the team didn't have it, and Dame stunk it up. So you lost the game that you were up 13 points. You're up 15 points in the first half, and you're up 13 points in the second half. Like if that doesn't show you that the Milwaukee Bucks were, again, I hate to say teams like the better team. Like you were up double digits on separate occasions in 2 halves. Like it wasn't like you carried a double-digit lead. Like you didn't carry a 15-point lead into the second half. And no, the Bucks were up 15, essentially lost that lead. I think it got down to 4, and then you ran the lead back up in the third quarter to 13, and you lost that lead too. Like that's the kind of stuff I don't like. That concern, and that's when you go, oh, we'll lose Adrian Griffin. No, it wasn't. Yeah, don't blame Dr. Griffin when you were good enough to have a lead in the first half and then run it right back. So it lets me know his stuff worked. Guys were bad. Should we be worried that Dame doesn't have an in-between game? He looks like Houston's hard. It's either a 3 or a drive, no midi, no manipulation defense, no floater. No, and I actually disagree with that. I don't think he uses. And Kyle says, yeah, exactly. Right as soon as I was saying it, Dame has a great midi. He doesn't use it. Like, he does have a midi, and that's one of the things I'm kind of maybe getting in favor of for Damian Lillard is, maybe having to shoot that statistically worst shot in basketball. Haliburton hit it a few times tonight where he gets to his spot, and it's like a 16-footer on the right side of the floor, gets a screen, bucks and drop. I got a 17-footer, I'm putting it in. DeMar DeRozan shoots it a lot of times really mainly more from the middle of the floor than from the elbows, right? But yeah, I'd rather you... when your 3 ball's not going, maybe you got to get to that 18-footer, that mark, and just hit that a couple times, see if it goes in, and then get back. Nick says, what's the point if you don't use it? And now I agree with that 100%. Like, he doesn't like it, and I think maybe some of the reasons you don't like it is because it is, again, statistically the worst shot in basketball to shoot that 17-footer, 18-footer. But again, if you have it and you can hit it consistently, like Haliburton, that's a really good shot for him. Because he knows when he gets to that spot, it's going in. And if you're able to hit that shot every time when you get to that spot, like, and that's the thing that annoys me about the Bucks too, is like it seems like every team, And maybe Malik Beasley's been better at that this year than years past from some certain guys. But it seems like every team has guys, right, that when they get to a spot and they're in that spot, when they shoot that ball, it's good every single time. And it just sucks. It feels like the Bucks just don't have that. At least years past. Now again, Malik Beasley has seemed to that corner three is money for him. He's shooting at a high clip. I just hate it. Just seems like, it seems like Dame should be a guy that, like, he just has a spot on the floor where, like, if Dame gets to it, oh yeah, it's going in. Like, even like Giannis, like when Giannis gets to, and it's not a jumper, but when he has almost like a, once he's got that one step or two steps to somebody, when he gets, he got him. He's gonna dunk that. He's gonna get to the back. Like, we don't have like outside of those guys. Like, I just don't feel, or like sometimes Bobby's turnaround, but I don't know if Bobby's turnaround is even like, I don't even know if Bobby's turnaround is pure enough to say like that's automatically going in. Like when he gets on the block, I've talked about it earlier, the ball stopping, but at least like I know you should get a high quality shot. Bobby shoots a lot of those mid-range jumper because that's his shot. Like he shoots that well. Chris Milton, that Michael Jordan, I'm on the baseline turnaround, like that's more his game, and he hits that shot at a high rate. So, I like it. Yeah, so I'll read a couple more comments, and then we'll get out of there. Obviously, I'm going solo. Been just under an hour. Like, follow, subscribe, all of that. If you're joining the Cream City crossover, the Bucks were losers tonight, 122-113. The Indiana Pacers got them. At MS_WI says, a part of the Bud fan club, says, we're a fun team, not a great team. Again, listen, don't kid yourselves. If you're 24-9 at this point in the season, you're a really good basketball team. You are a great basketball. At 24-9, you're a really great basketball team. Let me tell you all the teams that have won at least 24 games: the Boston Celtics and the Minnesota Timberwolves. Those are two games. Those are two teams. Oh, excuse me. Boston, Minnesota, and Denver. There are 3 teams in the NBA outside of the Bucks, so 4 total teams in the NBA that have won 24 basketball games or more. Don't kid yourself. You're a really great team. I can break it down. I'll even go that have won 20 games. So you say, the Bucks schedule's soft. The Bucks schedule's soft. People do that. Okay. So in the East, there have been 3 teams that have won 20 games: Boston, Milwaukee, Philly. And in the West, there are 3 teams that have won at least 20 games: Denver, OKC, Minnesota. So a grand total of 6 teams in the entire NBA have won at least 20 basketball games. No, you are an elite company. Don't kid yourselves, and don't worry about the schedule. All that. The Bucks are a very good basketball team, and they are, like I said, obviously one of the best basketball teams in the entire NBA. And they are elite. They're not just fun. They're good. No, I'll give you an example. Like the Indiana Pacers are fun. Like the Indiana Pacers are a fun basketball team, right? Like the Indiana Pacers are 5-5 in their last 10. The Bucks are 8-2. So don't give me we're fun. We're not. The Orlando Magic are fun. They're 19-13, 4-6 in their last 10. Those teams are fun. The New York Knicks are kind of fun. 5-5. They just made a trade. Atlanta Hawks are battling. They're 13-19. Maybe they're fun, right? OKC is fun because of how the style they play, right? There are a lot of teams I could argue that are fun and not good. The Bucks are not one of them. They are fun and good. I would say. At jump_Pierre says, what the F were those non-Giannis minutes and lineups? Again, I mean, when you say what were the non-Giannis minutes and lineups, there are 5 guys. There were 5 guys. Well, I don't know if it's the entire bench unit he used was a double-digit negatives. There was no, like, what lineup? What lineup did you look for? Like, this guy didn't play. This guy didn't play. Like, who did you look at? Tell me the guy that was on the Bucks that you was like, he didn't play enough tonight. Like that was not, like, sometimes it's like, where was Andre Jackson Jr.? Where was Pat Connaughton? Where was this guy? That did not happen. I didn't look at anybody and go, oh man, why didn't this guy play more? I didn't see it. At Paskey's Burner says, at not Jim Paskey says, Dame gets most of the blame for the last 2 losses in Indiana. Simple as that. Dame needs to be better, way too consistent this year. This could be a problem in the playoffs. Listen, Paskey's Burner, when you say this could be a problem in the playoffs, maybe, but again, let me get to post All-Star break. If Dame is still this inconsistent post All-Star break, then let's talk about whether it's going to be a problem in the playoffs. Until then, I'm willing to be okay with this because, again, we know what overreacting did. Overreacting got idiots writing articles about firing Adrian Griffin, Dr. Griffin, at 5-4, as if this is just going to be the worst season of all time. And the Bucks, as I just showed you, are one of only 6 teams with at least 20 wins in the NBA. So let's not overreact to Damian Lillard as well. Maybe we should look at it like, Damian Lillard has been this inconsistent this year, and the Bucks have won 24 games. Maybe that's impressive because when you look at a basketball game, right? When you look at a game and you see like you go into half. Was that the Brooklyn Nets? What game was that like recently? Where I want to say it might have been Brooklyn, where I think Brooklyn had it was lighting it up or no, it was like I can't remember. There's a game I can't recall who it was or where it was, but like they were playing very well and they were only up like 5, and it's like well you can see how this is gonna go. Like if you're like some of those times where you're not playing well in the first, and we talk about that within like a half of a game. Like imagine Dame, Giannis, and Chris Middleton all not scoring double-digit points in the first half, and the Bucks are still only down by like 2, or the Bucks are ahead by okay, they're gonna play much better than that. Like is it okay because we do that within singular basketball games? Why can't we do that for a season where it's like, well, Dame's been inconsistent for 30 games. What do you think his next 50 are gonna look like? Like, if he's been this inconsistent and the Bucks have been this good through 30, man, what is it going to look like the next 30 where Dame starts that trend upwards? Like, instead of thinking, well, Dame's been inconsistent, he's going to continue to be inconsistent, right? Like, I wonder if it's okay to look at it, in that way. At NBA Enjoyer _ says, is Same the Bucks' third scoring option now that Chris is healthy? Maybe he's saying insane, the Bucks' third scoring option. I don't know what you're saying. Is Dame, excuse me. Okay, so he corrected himself. Is Dame the Bucks' third scoring option now that Chris is healthy? No, Damian Lillard is probably your second option. And again, that's disappointing because I thought he was going to be the first option. But yeah, no, Dame is still your second option. Chris is playing well. I wouldn't consider, I would still say, Dame is a better offensive player. He has been, inconsistent. At Turbo Hike says Dame no show, Giannis needed help. And then I'll give a couple more, and then we'll get out of here. At Kane is back. 4X says our bench is ass. Without the starting fives, there's literally nothing in our offense or defense. Also didn't help. The refs were unfair. 38 free throws to 26 is where we lost because we made more shots than them. I won't say the refs were unfair. I didn't think they were great, but I wouldn't say unfair. And then I think what happened was the officials, they wanted to make sure it didn't get out of hand, and so they called the game a little tighter than normal, and maybe it didn't help the Bucks, but I wouldn't say they were unfair. I think circumstances made them want to kind of clean the game up. And then at Thomas L says Giannis exited the game with a double-digit lead multiple times, re-entered the game either tied or down. What is wrong with this team? Again, they're 24-8. Why does something have to be wrong with this team? Now, again, I do think the Bucks do have some flaws they have to clean up and figure out what they want to do with it, but I don't think anything's wrong with the team. I think you've seen some interesting performances, some up and down performances, but I think overall they are fine. Give a couple more here from YouTube. Nick says the problem with Giannis is that his 4 is broken. It doesn't matter. I think he says form. Doesn't matter how much he practices, his head goes upwards, his shot is misaligned with the shoulders misaligned with the hoop. Motion is overall horrendous. Yeah, I agree that the shot for Giannis is like, it's one of those things like, is it ever gonna be there? Like I don't know. I don't think it will. I don't think he'll ever just get the shot that's like great. Like we've been asking for it. I feel like we've been asking for it for a while. Like, oh man, it's shot. What if it's shot? And it's like, I think the best you can ask for is the best I would ask for Giannis is, can you get me to where you shooting 75% from the free throw line? If you could do that, I think the Bucks will be okay. That's what I'm looking for. Shoot 75% from the line. I do think he can do that. Close this thing out. Going to give out a game ball. Again, my game ball, Guru game ball tonight goes to TJ McConnell, 16-9-4. I thought he controlled the game. I thought the game changed every time he was in it. To me, he was the best player on the floor. And I know Tyrese Haliburton ended the game off very well with 26, 11, and 9. Had a couple nice buckets at the end of the basketball game. Almost had a triple-double. But I really think the guy who impacted the game the most was TJ McConnell. Like when people go, oh, why didn't he play? This guy, talking about the Bucks, like subs and rotations. Like 21 minutes for TJ McConnell was criminal. Like, TJ McConnell could have played 30 minutes tonight, and I don't know, maybe with the way the Pacers were playing, maybe the Pacers win, really going away. They win by 9, but maybe, but the Bucks fouled a couple at the end, but maybe they just win going away. I don't know, right? Like that's how good TJ McConnell was. He just impacted the game at so many different levels. So that's where I'll go with that. TJ McConnell, player of the game. Let's do a quick look around, and then I promise this is going to end. Lots of games in action tonight for the NBA on New Year's Day. Bucks lose 122-113. Heat and Clippers 58-59. Clippers up 1 at the half. The Knicks won tonight over the Timberwolves. Look at that. Like that's just kind of how things go. Anthony Edwards played. Karl-Anthony Towns played. Anthony Edwards gave 35. Karl-Anthony Towns had 29. Rudy Gobert played. So everybody for Minnesota played tonight. You lose by 6 to the Knicks, right? Like that's just the NBA. The Timberwolves are a 24-8 basketball team. They lost to an 18-15 Knicks team. That's the NBA. Like that's like, if that happens on Christmas, are people crying about what happened with the what's wrong with the Timberwolves? Like that's just how the NBA goes. Raptors had a trade and they beat the Cavaliers tonight. That's a team I'd be worried about if I was a Cavaliers fan. What's going on with them? Donovan Mitchell did give 26, 7, and 7, but I'd be worried about them. How about quickly with 14, 6, and 3, and then Pascal Siakam had 36, and then RJ Barrett, new acquisition over there, put up 19 for Toronto. The Rockets beat the Pistons, so the Pistons in their loser streak and start another one. The Jazz blow out the Mavericks tonight. Suns get a win over the Blazers, and the Nuggets take down the Hornets 111-93. So that's your look around the NBA tonight. Other news, I don't know if you've been watching the college football playoffs. Alabama went down in overtime to Michigan 27-20. I thought it was a pretty good game, and I was able to catch a little bit. I was able to catch a lot of that game, and then at the end of that game, I watched. I was kind of racing in between rooms, watching a little bit of overtime, and then watching the Bucks. So fun one. I don't know if you guys saw as well. David Tepper, he's gonna be on the trash list. All T's accused on Saturday for throwing some ice or whatever kind of water it was at Jacksonville Jaguars. But we'll get on all that. I don't even know. I think the Badgers play Saturday, so we may not have a show. So I'll let you know about that on 97.3 The Game. That's it for the Cream City crossover night. Appreciate everybody for joining us. Listen to me, all the comments. Happy New Year's to everybody. Kyle and Racine, Happy New Year's. Nick says it's very difficult to shoot 75% when he's fatigued. Legs aren't there. He must be talking about Giannis. Oh, I see what you're saying. Well, yeah, but again, he was fatigued in the. I hear you. Last thing I say, I hear you, but everybody gets tired in the NBA. Like Embiid is tired. There's a lot of guys who get tired during games, and they find ways to hit the free throws. And the reason I say that is because, like, with the three-point shot, it's a little different. Like, Giannis has never been like a drop down, like a drop dead, spot up, or pull up three-point shooter. He's never had that really in his game. He's been able to hit like his best year shooting free throws was rookie year. He's hit 17 and 19 in the finals or whatever it was. He's had this year games where he's hit a ton of free throws. So I know that he can do it. I know that he can do it when he's tired. I know that Giannis can hit free throws. 75% is not, I'm not asking you to shoot 85, 90. Listen, I know that he can do that. Is he tired? Yes, his routine. There's a lot of talk about all that. But he shot it like that before, and he finds ways to hit that shot. So we can talk about form, and I agree. The form is weird. I'm not even disagreeing with you on that, Nick. I'm just saying that I've seen him too many times, and again, not like the regular jump shot, but too many times I've seen him hit free throws in clutch moments, in fourth quarters, first quarters. I've seen him hit free throws all the time in different situations, and it just seems like there's some nights when it's on, some nights where it's not. I think you can get to a point where it's 75%. That's just my personal opinion. Let me get us out of here. Appreciate everybody for joining. Again, like, follow, subscribe, all that good stuff. You can find me at TCIIIESQ. Bucks are in action again Wednesday night against these same Indiana Pacers. So if you want to see this matchup for, I believe this is going to be the 5th and final time until maybe the playoffs. The Bucks got to play the Indiana Pacers. You can come back right here to Cream City Crossover after that game Wednesday night. They have the Pacers in Indiana. Again, the Bucks will try to get that series to a 3-2, and really, well, I guess it would be 2-2, but regular season, but the in-season tournament was a neutral site loss for the Bucks. So it is what it is there. Pacers win it 122-113 over the Milwaukee Bucks. We'll see you guys Wednesday night. I believe John Tyus will be back. He's on vacation, so we'll see everybody there. Don't take no wood nickels. Courage.